Bryan Broaddus, you ready?
I'm ready,
you
man.
ready?
I'm ready.
And we are ready, man. Yeah, man, we doing all right, Bryan Broaddus. We're doing all right. We're going to break down these Ravens today on offense. I appreciate everybody for tapping in with us, watching. I think we have a lot of support for our Tuesday guest shows, Bryan Broaddus. You know, they were really loving Woolchuck in there. So shouts out to Woolchuck. Shouts out to everybody for watching. So you have something?
Yeah, no, I thank Zach on behalf of us and all the folks that follow the show. And he said, man, I had a really good time doing that. And I'm like, oh yeah, we'll have some fun on that show, but we'll talk some serious football too. And so I think that's what everybody appreciates. But Tuesday's a good time. I mean, I got a good Rolodex too. We'll have some weekly guests that I think that's a great idea on your part to bring somebody in, just a little bit different attitude, maybe a little bit different thought about this football team.
All right, y'all. Bryan Broaddus said we're going to have Jerry Jones on next Tuesday, so y'all be sure y'all tune in.
Next Tuesday, tune in.
All right. Yeah, Bryan, we're tapping in with the Baltimore Ravens today, their offense. Before we get to the Ravens, I guess we got a little bit of Cowboy news, if this is considered news. You're very much so boots on the ground. You got a phone full of people that know what the hell going on, and I just got your number. I call you when I need help, Bryan Broaddus. What's going on with Jordan Phillips saying my wrist don't hurt, but everybody else saying, yes, your wrist does hurt? What's going on with that?
Yeah, this to me is I did put a call into a couple of people and haven't heard back about that one, but my 2 cents where I think I could help, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. But this seems like to me very much we need the roster spot. We're going to poach a defensive tackle that we've had before, and we need your spot. We're not going to get rid of Linval Joseph, but we're going to get rid of you, Phillips. Now, this is an interesting thing. And I say it in this way because immediately now you don't have a backup 3.
Yeah.
But I could hear people out there saying, well, damn, Bryan, when you played, you didn't have a backup 3 anyway.
So did.
Could this be with, maybe Golston going back inside and doing some of that? We'll see. He's usually the guy that gets sacrificed for things like this. Where I think we're Phillips with the wrist injury, with the IR, to me, this seems very convenient in order to clear a spot and then work on an injury settlement. So what will eventually happen, I believe, is Adam Pacifica with his agent will negotiate a 2-game, a 3-game buyout is really what it is. They'll put you on IR and then they'll do some bookkeeping. They'll injury settle you, and then you can go on your merry way. But they've given you like 2-3 game checks to do that. So it's a bookkeeping way, but they need the spot. And they were, they felt like that, I'm sure that Mike and, Mike's familiarity with Linval Joseph and stuff like that, probably feels like we need to keep the 1 around. We could sacrifice the 3, bringing in a guy, but also if we have to kick Golston inside and for a bit, then we could sure do that. So that's where I think we're at right now. Maybe tomorrow we'll have a little bit better. I'll have a little bit better understanding after visiting with some folk. I don't think anybody wants to admit they're fudging things.
Sure,
but this is a way of clearing the spot and then negotiating a 3-game settlement with game checks. And a lot of times the players will say, cool, I'll take my 3 game checks and move on.
Bryan, you sent your text around, and look, if you got 5 sources, I got 5 sources. That's what I say to my audience, And you're not saying anything, or at least what I'm about to ask you, how you're about to answer this, right? You're not saying anything that you heard. Bryan Broaddus is not reporting anything because we don't know nothing.
No,
we don't know shit. We don't know nothing, Bryan.
I have not heard, but this seems like to me, I've been in the league before for a long time, and this is how things kind of work sometimes.
Yeah, but Bryan, but what I'm getting at, and you're not reporting that, but what I'm getting at, do you think this a locker room situation? You think he just not good enough? You think somebody said something to him and he ain't like it? You know, like Albert Huggins smacked a water boy and he was like, all right, come on back and play some more and we'll talk to you at some, you know what I mean? Like what? And to be fair, he wasn't all that good in the Browns game neither, Brian.
Right.
But you think after this short sample size, somebody was just like, all right, do you think this is a Zimmer call, a McCarthy call? Who got cussed out here? And who made this decision, bro? Like why is this happening with Jordan Phillips?
Well, you got to figure out ways, if you don't want to reduce your roster, and this is just me being a former personnel guy, you can, if a guy comes in on a Monday and he's complaining about his wrist, or he's saying, hey, I have this wrong with me, then the trainers make note, he gets treatment, and then, you move on, and the trainers then say, well, hey, this is pretty significant. This might cause him to miss some time. He's coming out and saying, well, this is news to me, kind of a thing. So it has the feeling, and I'm not accusing the Cowboys of faking injuries, and I'm not accusing the player of faking injuries, but here we are, somebody's not telling the truth. And so exactly. I knew you were going to do this. I knew exactly you were going to do this, but that's the thing, the player's saying, hey, I'm okay. But the player's going to realize, like, okay, his agent's going to explain to him, you going on IR and this is what we can do. And, you could sit on IR for 4 weeks, or we can injury settle it and you'll be gone you'll be out, and you now get 3 game checks. There is a benefit if, and I guess maybe benefit's the wrong word, but there's something to gain, when you're sitting out, you'll get paid, but they'll also say, and he might have a split contract too, or something where he gets less money if he's hurt and all that. So, there's a lot of things going on here, but my gut feeling is that they needed the spot. They felt like this was the best way to do it. The player might not agree to it, but when his agent explains to him what could lie ahead, the player will then say, okay, well then let's do what we have to do to move on. That's all I'm saying. Mm-hmm. If he spends the whole entire, if he spends 4 weeks on injured reserve and then they think about bringing him back, well, I'd be happy to admit I was wrong about that. But this seems to me like they needed the spot, and this was the most convenient way to get the spot without cutting somebody that they didn't want to cut. That's where, you could, and like I say, Zimmer has a relationship with Linval Joseph. Yeah. He's like, okay, I had to do this. And I think the money for Linval Joseph is probably a lot more than what it is for Phillips. I'd have to look that up. Mm-hmm. But this just seems like a convenient way of being able to go out and poach the tackle that they needed, or the tackle that they wanted.
Hey, Brian is going to tap in with his 5 sources. They're going to call him. And And then Brian's going to call me, and I'm going to act like it's my opinion or just what I'm thinking about something, and just act like it ain't true, all right? But let's get into these Ravens, man, these Baltimore Ravens. Bryan Broaddus, I just want to let the people in, man. Me and you had a little conversation prior to the show. We can let them in on that. That's okay. And I was trying to get a grasp on the Ravens' run game. Because I think the Ravens and their run game, and look, anybody in the audience can disagree with me or Brian, whatever. The Ravens, when I was watching them run the football, it reminded me a lot of what the Cowboys deal with sometimes. It's like, all right, man, 4 people did their job. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Boy, we missed that one block at this spot, boy. Oh, this is beautiful. Right. And Derrick Henry, one of them cats, and this is consistent with how it's been. If he has a running start and a clear path and he gets going, you got an issue, right? But if you kind of bottle him up at the line of scrimmage, you got to stop his feet and chop a little bit. You can typically bring him down. A couple of y'all to bring him down, you know. But that clog typically happens in a handful of spots, you know. I like Ronnie Stanley a lot. I like Voorhees a lot. He was a USC draft pick a couple of years. Well, he went undrafted because he got hurt towards bicep or something like that, something strange like that. But I was a big fan of Voorhees, physical player, and
he was a 7th round pick.
7th round pick, yeah,
7th round, yeah, 7th round.
But that's really like a 3rd round dude though, like just me watching film.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, you're right, yeah,
3rd round dude for sure. And Linda Brown. So me and Bryan basically agreed that the left side of that offensive line, I love what they do over there.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
But Daniel Falele, you know, if we're gonna play find the scrub this weekend, Bryan, trust me, man, find the scrub don't mean nothing because they'll be terrible versus the Raiders. They'll be horrific versus the daggum Chiefs, and we'll roll up in there and damn he'll make the Pro Bowl against us, Bryan Broaddus. Daniel Falele will whoop everybody we got for him. So, yeah, I think that's a problem that the Ravens run game runs into sometimes, right? They'll be fine like 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5 guys. But one guy will miss a block here or there, Bryan.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And maybe with Falele that you're in a situation where that's a massive dude. That is a 6'8", 380-pound guy. That is a massive guy. And I think that some of the troubles that they've had in pass protection have been over him. Quickness has given him problems. I know the first couple of weeks that I watched tape on the Ravens, both run and pass, felt like that he was a little bit slow with the get-offs, slow to adjust. You got guys like Linderbaum, and the way that he's able to, he gets off the ball in a hurry. He's a light. He's an undersized center, but man, he's athletic. He's mobile. He can get second level. You see their guys moving off the ball, and he can be a tick slow. And it's just, he's that big. He's massive. And so that's a little bit of a problem. They really, they haven't really figured out too what's going on at right tackle.
Sure.
They're subbing a couple of different players in there. Rosengarten, the tackle from Washington.
Yeah.
He was, I believe, a 2nd round pick. I think he was a 2nd round pick. But yeah, they're kind of subbing, him in and out at the right tackle spot. So they're kind of trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
But Voch, you remember this guy, I think you do. I don't think you were working at Pizza Hut when this was happening. When you said you were selling pizzas, which I didn't believe.
Yeah.
But anyway,
definitely. But
I thought it was pretty good that you said that. But we've come a long way.
A long time ago, Bryan.
Long time ago, man.
But that shirt was this color, Bryan. But that damn Pizza shirt was this color.
Man. You were destined for glory. There was no question,
man.
But there was a player at the Giants, had a guy named Brandon Jacobs.
I remember Brandon Jacobs.
And when you played the Giants,
the running back, the Giants, running back Brandon.
Yeah. Giants, when Brandon Jacobs would play downhill, he was a problem.
Yeah,
big problem, because he's big leg, high knee action kind of a guy, tough guy to tackle. But when he played downhill, nobody wanted to deal with him. You get him playing sideways or hesitant. He hesitates as he gets to the line, and maybe like you said, with what you're doing with this guy, with Henry, you make him slow up a little bit. You don't let him get that downhill run on you.
Yeah.
And you got a shot. And so these big backs, Ron Dane, all these big backs, if you get them moving sideways, get them trying to find that hole sideways. Don't let them get square. Don't let them turn their shoulders upfield and go. Is Dallas capable of that? We'll see. They have linebackers who are capable of filling holes. We'll see. This is what this game, if there's two things, it's the power of Derrick Henry and it's the ball handling and the elusiveness of Lamar Jackson.
Sure. So, Bryan, that's what I was going to ask you. Voch says this. Of these three running characters, right?
Yeah.
If there's any two that I feel like we'll have a bigger problem with, I think it's Jackson running the ball, and I think it's Justice Hill catching the ball. I just think I think that can open up a lot of problems for us, because if we're hyper focused on Jackson running around, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for just Hill to just catch passes and just be wide open on the other side of the field. Because something I learned about just watching Jackson, when he's in trouble, he'll either run to some freedom,
right?
And if he can't run to freedom, he'll dump the ball off to somebody. So he'll find Mark Andrews real fast. In game one, he found Likely. And, 9 times out of 10, Justice Hill, if he's on the field, he'll be sitting around waiting for the danger, right? I haven't discerned whether it's intentional that they try to get Justice Hill going or if he's just the emergency guy. But I do think in context of versus the Cowboys, right? If you don't contain Justice Hill, they will definitely throw the ball to him, and he can't get big yards on you. And we just can't go out here, like we did versus Watson, right? We can't have Lamar Jackson and go, damn, we let you go.
Right.
Because he'll make you pay for that. And
absolutely.
And it's much harder to catch him than Carr or Watson is.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. The thing with Hill, they'll get backed up. And their give up play is usually, like some teams give up play is hand the ball off and let's give up. Mm-hmm. These bastards will run a screen.
Yep.
They'll run a tight end delay screen, or they'll run a screen to Hill, and it's, he is a guy that's going to be on the field on third down. That's not to say that Henry won't get opportunity, but it gets to third down. They put Hill into the game. And he's going to they can hand it to him, or they're going to let him block, or they're going to throw him a screen, or they're going to throw him a pass in the flat. He definitely is. The thing about this Ravens passing game, and I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this. When they, we see teams, all these crossing routes and stuff, and then not to say that Flowers, not to say that Zay Flowers won't run crossing routes, or any of these guys, Bateman won't run crossing routes. I kind of noticed it's like they're trying to make the most easiest throws they can for this guy.
Yeah.
It's upfield and curl inside, upfield hook, upfield past the sticks, stand there. Zay Flowers is constantly on the move. And you start to talk about, why does Zay Flowers lead the league in separation? It's because he's always playing on the move.
Sure.
This guy is always running. And so it's always movement, motion. They'll when they go under center occasionally, they hand him the jet sweeps. That's a guy that's going to get your football right there. When you play under center, you're going to get that kind of look. What do you got for me today here?
Got Zay Flowers in motion about the motion
right there. Yeah, exactly. So, for example, if you could stop it right there just for a second. Okay, look at as you look at the way this thing is configured, this is likely the tight end at the bottom of the screen right there. And then at the top in the first slot right there, that's Mark Andrews. And so that's where Mark Andrews is going to play the majority of the time. They're not going to play him with hand down. They'll play they'll get into Likely and Bunch and with him and Ricard and Andrews, and they'll all sit there and that's, they'll block behind that, or you'll get a crack, and then you'll get a crack, and then everybody starts to pull. But that's kind of where you're going to see Mark Andrews quite a bit. He's going to be a detached player. So here comes the motion across with Flowers. You can set up now. Is this the one? I wonder. Is this after this formation? They threw a deep crossing route to Flowers.
Man, come on, Bryan Broaddus, man. You know me, man. Come on, man.
Right there. Okay. Well, they did that against the Raiders though too. Did the same damn thing against. If you run it back, please.
Okay.
Okay. We'll see the end zone copy. That's fine. Okay. This is the massive right guard we're talking about. Look at that right there. Look at that. That's. As long as you see nobody attacking him there.
Yeah.
This is where you have to. I put somebody on him in this game, maybe Osa, somebody quick, somebody make him, because he plays off balance and and his feet get bad, and he's a massive guy. You rush him down the middle, he's going to kill you. But you play him quick. But this is where to me, when you watch the Ravens, there's that, you saw the little bit of the cross, but it's when I was watching this guy throw, he kind of flicks his wrist.
Yeah.
He's a wrist flicker. He's not a get into it and horse it and throw it and step and be that guy.
Driving with
really
his legs.
Drive it. He's a flicker.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not always accurate flicking the ball.
Sure.
And so that's why I think that the Cowboys have to be aware of, they will give him some really simple throws to where it's the outs, it's the curls,
bubbles and stuff
bubbles,
like that.
Stuff that he can throw that's very, very easy.
Yeah.
But man, last week the guy can kill you with his arm. Carr can kill you throwing the ball. We saw that. I mean, the chances that he did throw, he killed the Cowboys with that.
Yeah.
This guy can be a little inaccurate throwing the ball. Now watch him go out and light Dallas up throwing the ball, but it's that's, I would rather die on that hill than having them just him run the ball, Henry run the ball, Hill run the, I mean, I would rather Flowers run I would rather them, man. My hope is how well you do play. This is against the Raiders.
Same damn play, Bryan Broaddus.
Same play.
Same damn play.
I knew, I've seen this play. Like I say, I saw it a couple. This is the one. There it is, right there, just right down the middle.
Yeah.
See, they're going to try and make as many simple throws as they can for this guy.
So Bryan, let me ask you this. The Raiders game, man, let's just assume that the Ravens were just having a bad day on offense, right? But let's just assume that the Ravens offense is like clicking and they're in their element or whatnot. So let's just say Kansas City. When I was watching Kansas City, to your point, it was a lot of likely getting short stuff and him getting yak yards afterwards,
Right.
And I don't know what they're getting out of, Bateman necessarily. I mean, he'll have a big, he'll have a big play here or there, but their main yak guys, just in my own personal opinion, is likely if they can get them going, not so much in week 2. And Zay Flowers, they'll get them to him quickly, or those deeper crossing routes. It's always something easy, Bryan. You are right. It's something easy, and I think Lamar has to make a decision quickly. Right, like he'll just make it quickly, boom, get the ball out, and just get it to you. If you allow him to hold the football, right?
Yes.
Then you can either, just like with Watson, right? He'll run around, he'll drop his eyes and da-da-da. But you can get in trouble if he holds it and he finds somebody and then he hits somebody deep. But I do think you would rather him, not run against you. Like him running against you is a back breaker. I would rather him throw the ball for 8, 9 yards or whatever than him run for like 50.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, that final play in the damn Raiders game, he's running down the middle of the field, and I'm like, my God, this guy's going to score. And then he throws the ball back, and I don't know why. If I'm him, I just keep running. He's liable to make space. But there's going to be a play, and I should have clipped it to you earlier. He's going to throw the ball in the Raiders game to Flowers, and Flowers is going to get lost. It's a big play. Flowers is going to get lost going right to left. And what happens is Jackson's going to be in the pocket, and he's going to, it might be the longest catch that Flowers had, I think, with yards, but if you can find it, if it's done by that. But you see Jackson starts to drift, and he starts to move, and then he drifts, and now he's drifting all the way to his right. And Flowers ends up on the left side of the Raiders defense. So he's behind the linebackers and that safety. He's found space. And what does Jackson do? Jackson, they say, well, hey, don't throw across your body and don't throw in the middle of the field when you're rolling one way. Everything you shouldn't do, he does, and they get a huge play.
Yeah. Because
he stays alive in the pocket. But there's times where you see him where teams can the Raiders back him up a little bit, make him play backwards a little bit, and he doesn't get enough on the ball. and he had a couple passes that were tipped, and so he's really good. I mean, the running ability is elite, but you got to stay with your guys. And this is what makes it even tougher is you come off your guys and he'll find the guy. I mean, he'll do something crazy, crazy that you shouldn't do, but he gets away with it.
Yeah.
And that's, man, that's what is this it right here?
Yep.
Let's see if we got it. I bet you got it. Yeah. Okay. Flowers is going to end up on the left side. He's going to get lost. Okay, there. I'm sorry. He was on the.
Yep,
go back if it could.
I got you. Flowers
okay.
is right here.
I thought he was on the left side. He's on the left side of the offense.
Yep.
And so and he ends up. I thought he went all the way across.
No, he didn't.
I remember the play.
He didn't. Watch this. Here you go. Right here.
It. Yeah. So watch what happens. You get a quarterback. He starts. Okay. I'm running around, moving around, and there's Flowers on the other side of the field.
Yep.
And you're like going, you shouldn't make that throw.
No.
That throw is that's not a throw you want to make. But watch what happens in the pocket here. Watch how he's able to. Okay, let's go back. Stop if we could real quick.
Jeez, man, look at
go back to the guard. I want to show the guard. Yeah, here's where. Okay, there we go. Right there. I would not be opposed. If you could get these son of a guns to throw.
Yeah.
I would not be opposed to putting Micah Parsons over that guy.
Yeah.
Just put him in a 3 and let him rush. Just let him work around it. But him right there. Look, just bend, over the feet, slow. That's right there. That's right on Jackson. Right there. I mean, that's a great example. Look at that. And Jackson's like, okay, now I got to back up. Now I got to move over. Now I got to move again. And I'm just going to throw it all the way across the field because the guy's standing there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of crap you're going to deal with in this game. God. And like I said, that was a great example of what you and I have seen with that guard. And I think that's your pressure point in this football game.
Big play nonsense is what I've been calling it, Bryan Broaddus. Just big play. That's supposed to be 2 sacks, man. And I wonder, you typically tell pass rushers if it's pass rush time, like go get them, right? Yeah. But maybe you got to dial it back maybe 1 tick just to make sure you're not running past these guys. I don't recommend anybody slow down on a passing game, but you just cannot let these sacks get away. You just can't leave sacks on the field. You were supposed to sack Deshaun Watson at least 9 times, but he just got away from you, right? Yeah. You can't have those in this game because Watson is a much more dangerous runner. Plus, I think he can find these guys downfield, Brian. Like these 50-yard plays will break your back and make you not want to play defense no more.
Yeah, the thing, if we all remember how the Cowboys used to play when they used to play Russell Wilson, and I remember Rod Marinelli, like you got to make him play backwards. Sure. The deeper, because he was shorter, the deeper he drops, the harder it is for him to throw the ball over the top. Yeah. But this guy right here is got such nimble feet in the pocket. And his ability, he feels everything in the pocket. But the throws, I mean, you might get lucky and him overthrow a guy. He throws off balance. You might get lucky, but you're right. You can't rush past this guy because if you rush past this guy, the minute he sees a lane, gone. He's gone. He's going to do what he has to do to move the chains. And he's capable of scoring from anywhere on the field with the way he plays. He's got that kind of ability but you have to be keeping him in the pocket, make him make those throws. It's easier said than done. They've got I think they've got 4 good linemen that pass block. The one lineman I think is a liability. The running backs, we've talked about that. The wide receiver, Flowers, Bateman, the tight ends. I mean, they are a good offense. And that quarterback, his maybe a little bit of his weakness is his ability to throw. Yeah. But his elite talent is his ability to keep a play live and run. That's the thing that scares me the most.
Brian, what do you think the what group is going to have the biggest challenges, whether it be the Cowboys corners versus these wide receivers, the linebackers in the run game, or the D lineman dealing with the O lineman, Brian? What unit from the Cowboys is going to have the most problems?
The D line. Mm-hmm. The D line's going to have the problems, because what's going to happen is as you rush or as you're playing run, if you're late, and you and I have talked about this in our pre-show. Mm-hmm. Aisha Morrison and I were visiting, and she made a really good point about, Dallas looked just that step slow playing blocks. And if you're playing blocks as half men, you're going to get blocked. You're going to get hooked. You're going to get reached. You've got to take on blocks. You take them on square. You and I've talked about that. It's leverage. You play with, if you're a half man trying to take on a block, you're not going to be able to take it on the right way and get off and go make plays. Dallas has got to play fast in this game. But the thing that they really, really have to do, they have to control this Ravens offensive line when it comes to at the line of scrimmage. You can't let these guys have free runs. You can't let Linderbaum just get it right up on Kendricks. You can't, if you're a down lineman, you've got to do everything in your power. Nealon, Golston, Tank, Micah, anybody involved, you've got to hold as many of those blocks as you can and allow these guys to run and get there. And your safeties have to come down and play. Your corners have to be a part of this. It's really going to take all 11 of those guys to play really good run defense. It usually does. I'm not telling you anything you already don't know. But, man, these defensive linemen have got a huge job. If they can somehow control that front and let these linebackers play a little bit, good things could happen to your defense. But if they play a step slow, half man, you could very well see similar what happened in the Saints game.
I don't want my secondary to be victims, man. I know that they're great players individually, but that ain't how secondaries work. Secondaries got to work together, Nope. And if you look at, whether it be we just call it the last two home games, right? Take a look at the Saints and the Green Bay Packers or whatever. If you would say, hey, our corners are better than their wide receivers, you'll say, sure, we're better than those guys on paper, right? But man, we'll give up some big ass plays, Bryan Broaddus, and that's the one thing I just hope that my Cowboys defense can get on track. They can fix, because you can have issues in the run game, but if you're giving up big ass plays every week, that could be a big problem.
So you think the secondary's got the biggest challenge then this week, huh?
Yeah, and they have
it's interesting, because you got to chase Flowers and how you deal with how are you going to deal with Mark Andrews?
Yeah.
That's the question. How if you got to be able to drive on balls. I'm pressing these guys. That's just me. Mm-hmm. I'm pressing these guys. If I'm Carson and those guys. Because when you play at depth, we see what happens with these in-breaking routes and stuff. We see play press, disrupt, make this quarterback have to deal with hold the ball. Make him have to deal with that. It's going to be hard to kind of disrupt Flowers because he plays on the move. Mm-hmm. But if everybody else, I'm locking on and, I'm going to go down fighting at the line of scrimmage. I'm not, they could call defensive holding on me all day, and the NFL, they might, but I'm not going to sit there and give these guys free access into routes and let them run on me like they did, in that New Orleans game, and then run crossing routes and, have all that space that they had. There were times these Cowboys defenders, Diggs, Carson, safeties weren't even close. Well, take that back. The bomb, we said that the bomb was 1.6 yards, perfect pass. But man, why? Because of a free run from the outside. Yeah. So,
hey, we'll see, Bryan Broaddus. We're gonna have to find a way to marry these safeties and linebackers, right? They have to marry covering tight ends, but also making sure Jackson not run all over the place on you. So
and we always talk about spies and stuff, and that's gonna be buzzwords for the next couple of days, pregame show. Everybody's going to ask about spy this, spy that. You better, number one, for a spy, the number one thing is you better have a spy that can play under control, and you better have a spy that can tackle in space. Yep. There's nothing worse than a guy that's spying and then he overcommits and the guy's by him, or the guy has a chance to tackle and bring him down for a 2-3 yard gain, misses the tackle. Now that thing's out the gate. Whoever you deem, if you're going to play spy football, whoever that guy is, he better be able to tackle well, and he better have his head on the right way and make the right decisions and not overrun or do something that causes him to miss that guy. Because the minute you miss that guy in space, it's a huge play. It is a huge play.
Yep. Jordan Phillips, we are not talking about you. We don't even think you probably ain't finna dress no more. You're gonna be in Jacksonville somewhere.
Maybe tomorrow I'll have that answer for you. Or I could get a, you never know, or he's full of S kind of a thing. You never know. There's always two sides of a story.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully here on the We're Doing All Right podcast, we'll get the right story for you.
We'll see about it, ladies and gentlemen. If y'all see me on the live stream saying something like, hey, man, if I had to guess, man, Jordan Phillips just, I don't know, somebody just.
I'd book it. If you're saying that, I'd book it. I think you got pretty good sources.
Oh, yeah, I got about 5 of them. I got a gang of 7 in my phone. It's all good. Hey, I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. We love y'all to pieces. Thank y'all so much for, watching the show, supporting the show, commenting. We both read comments in the morning about 5 o'clock when we out working out. So appreciate y'all. Follow me on my socials, VOCHLOMBARDI. I do talk to y'all now because it is football season. There are things to talk about. And be sure to follow Bryan Broaddus on social medias there. He's going to be talking back to y'all as well. Y'all hold it down. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We'll see y'all again tomorrow to break down this Ravens defense. I think those dudes are good, but we'll talk about it later. All right, y'all. Crown.